Obviously, we all know that the anniversary of the Iraq War is now, and is in this time frame, and this event is to remember the people, the brave people that have sacrificed so that we can have our freedoms. And it's for those soldiers that have died and have been injured in Iraq. Part of what we're also here about is I think perhaps it's time that we bring them home. You know, they've done their duty. Saddam is gone. Right now, I think by any accounts, we have a civil war there now, and I just feel like that they've done their duty, and we need to find a way to exit gracefully if we can. But the most important thing are the lives of those young men and women that are sacrificing for us. This evening, we're going to be reading the names of the fallen Oklahomans, and there are 57 names, and obviously we're over 3,000 deaths.
Jeffrey was 23 years old. He came back after being in the war. He returned to us July of 2003, and he looked wonderful. He was physically unscathed, but he had hidden wounds, and we didn't see it until it was too late.
Obviously, what we don't want to do is to put our troops in harm's way by saying, oh, well, we're leaving, you know, at X amount, and so, are we going to put them at more risk because people are going to say, oh, well, then let's go hit them while we can? Or are we going to put ourselves in a situation where we're letting the Iraq government know that, you know, the free ride is over?
My name is Summer Ludford, and my son, Stephen Serko, died in Iraq, April 17th, 2005.
We don't want to put our troops in a situation where, guess what? Oh, let's not fund them so they don't have armor, let's not fund them so they don't have this or that. That's not the point at all. The point is, okay, where are troops needed? Where are troops not?
And in my opinion, it's not a winnable war. And the reason I say that is, if the Chinese came into the United States and said, hey, we're going to take away democracy and we're going to convert you to a different way of living, and we're going to tell you how to run your country, and you're doing it all wrong, almost everybody I know would fight till they died. And it's not a war over property, it's a war over theology and a war over a way of living that they've been doing for thousands of years.
It's not a simple thing. And the idea when we went in that, oh, shock and awe, we're going to blow the head off of the regime, and everybody's going to come with flowers and wish us, you know, hooray, hooray, like when we liberated Paris or Berlin. Just doesn't work that way anymore.
Try to make our voices heard. This is a pretty red state, but I think the tide has turned, and I think more people than ever are tired of this war. They want our troops to come home, and this war is immoral, and it started with a lie, and I think it needs to end as soon as possible.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your feelings?
You mean all the lies?
Sure. Well, I mean, however you...
Okay, well, supposedly we were... I have no idea why we went in there. They said weapons of mass destruction. The Bush administration was supposedly reacting to 9/11, but that was perpetrated from Saudi Arabia. Hussein didn't have anything to do with it. Not that he was a nice guy, he was horrible. We were bombing all the buildings that house their infrastructure, their records, and everything else. And so now we're trying to rebuild it. They don't have electricity full time. They don't have water full time. Some of the military who are pro our being there like to emphasize all the stuff we've done to help the people. But a lot of it wouldn't have had to be done if we hadn't destroyed it in the first place. I don't know anything good about anything that we've done. We may have opened some schools, which is not bad, but weren't they in school before that?
My son was killed, and they knew he had been shot, but it was only the next week, the next Sunday, that I read in the New York Times how he had been shot, because there had been an embedded reporter, and he was doing a story about Bravo Company, and Nick was attached to Bravo Company.
We're not affected by this war like people in World War II and Vietnam, where our kids aren't being drafted. We're not shutting down factories to build tanks and airplanes. And so people are just living it. Their lives are no more uncomfortable than they were when this war started. Gasoline's a little more expensive, but they're not even blinking. They're just still buying the gasoline.
To make the changes, you have to change the government. So next time we have an election, elect people who are for peace, not war.
Right now, just because there's a certain number of people that feel like that, you know what, we've done enough, it's time to come home, doesn't mean that we're not American, doesn't mean that we don't love our country, doesn't mean that we don't love our troops.
Specialist Joshua M. Pierce, 21, Guyman.
Sergeant Ross A. Hendelman, 36, Shawnee.